Welcome everyone to the highlight reel for Black Men Talk Tech 2020. I'm here with Abiudin Johnson, Evan Leapart, Javon Frazier, and we're going to talk about what our highlights were for the conference. Give a quick introduction. My name is Boris Moisten. I'm with Black Men Talk Tech. I'm also the co-founder of Funder.ai, which is a seed investing platform unleashing the power of private capital onto elite entrepreneurs. Abiudin, do you want to go next?
Yes, greetings everyone. My name is Abiudin Johnson. I'm 1/3 of Black Men Talk Tech. In addition to that, I'm also a startup founder, co-founder, CEO of GeoCloud. Basically, we're a location intelligence company solving location-based problems through software and hardware applications for consumers, businesses, and government bodies.
Awesome. Evan, you're up.
How's it going, everybody? Evan Leapart here, one of the co-founders of Black Men Talk Tech, and also founder of Kitty Credit. Kitty Credit's a mobile chore tracking app that teaches kids about credit. Where the premise of the app is the better a kid does their chores, the better their quote-unquote credit score. And we work with organizations and municipalities looking for unique ways to engage with their audience.
Awesome. Javon Frazier, do you want to give an introduction?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Javon Frazier attended the Black Men Talk Tech conference and was super enriched by the couple days of the conference, and actually all the relationships I've had since then. And so I'm the CEO of a company called Maestro Media, which builds merchandise and consumer products, really focused in the games space. And we build out those consumer products around IP and influencers. So creating a lot of fun and delight in ways for people to extend their brands through physical products.
Awesome. And Javon was one of our attendees. He's become a close member of our collective. We're here to talk about highlights. So I'm going to have Javon talk a little bit more about his company, what he's doing, and his favorite experience at the conference. But
well, I think the thing that attracted me to the conference was frankly the ability to network with people in the tech space with similar backgrounds to me, obviously. And so, a lot of us feel, as Black men in tech, feel like we are, kind of alone. And so that idea of being able to get introduced to a network that's, like you said, like Boris said, has become my network even post the conference, which I think was one of the biggest takeaways, was fantastic. And I kind of not knowing anyone that I met there to going to, having regular conversations with people post the conference has been one of the biggest takeaways. And so I think, the number one thing was meeting people, similar backgrounds, not only professionally, but obviously being Black men in the space, and having similar work experiences and similar, histories and things for us to share. And then obviously the thing that was very different about the Black Men Talk Tech conference in particular was that it fostered those conversations. It was less about people talking about their own background and just what I'm doing and kind of sharing their resume, but more so like, yes, talking about what you're doing, but also how can we work together, or how can I help you, or how can we collaborate? And that's been the spirit of that was the spirit of the conference, and has been the spirit of every conversation I've had since then. So I think
we had some amazing speakers with like crazy good resumes, but there was no hero worship.
Correct. Yeah. That's, I think that's a great way to kind of encapsulate it. I mean, it was, people obviously all had awesome backgrounds and were doing awesome stuff, but it wasn't about them. It was about, we've got these, 2 days of this conference for us to kind of, how do we collectively help each other? And I think that was quickly identified in the first breakout session. Was like, when you have a one-on-one with someone and then was like, hey, what are you doing? I'm doing this. What are you doing? How can we collaborate? and I've had a bunch of subsequent conversations since then. And obviously, Boris, you and I, and other people that we've met. And so that's been just so unique, and why I wanted to just, continue to be a part of this community.
Cool. And let's move on to Evan. Evan, could you talk a little bit about like what your highlight for the conference was or is?
Yeah. So I think what we really did a good job of was bringing some high level people together. The two things that stuck out to me was first hearing from Shu Nayata, the managing partner at the SoftBank Opportunity Fund. You know, when it was first announced, I think a lot of people had questions as to, you know, how is this going to work? You know, why only $100 million, or like, you know, what is their intent? Is this just is it the Opportunity Fund or Opportunist Fund, right? But like, once we got a chance to hear from Shu, it was really clear what they were trying to do and how they actually are trying to help. So I thought that was super dope. And then hearing from the VC conversation where it was Eric Ramos, Brian Burkeen, Ty Bond, and Marlon Nichols, and just hearing 4 VCs just candidly talk about their different theses, what they look for in founders, what their average check size are in a deal. You know, it's always cool to have the conference hat on and make sure that we're putting together good content, but we're all founders, so we're all soaking up game as we're listening to. So I was happy from a content perspective for sure.
Awesome. Abiuddin, your thoughts on highlights for the conference?
Oh man, so many. Like Evan said, we had so many, you know, awesome speakers, awesome panels that are very relevant to all the founders who are attending. I think for me, my favorite part is always the pitch competition. I love just hearing what other founders are working on, having them pitch and get up and kind of demonstrate their product and why they think they're going to be unicorns. And then at the end, be able to give them a check to actually be able to continue that journey, you know, keep on the lights for a couple extra months before they found either that product market fit or find that investor that's going to be able to pour gasoline on the fire to actually take them there. So, you know, between the pre-conference pitch competition and actual pitch competition, we gave over 32,000, and you know, just really excited to help founders get to that next step. So for me, the pitch competition was kind of the apex for the overall conference.
Yeah. No, and I love that, right? And I think also sharing about why Miami is a great place to do business was an interesting part of the conference for me and a highlight. And the winner of our pitch competition, Kermed, which does you know, Uber-like delivery of medical devices, so prosthetics for veterans, or medication for the elderly. They do order and delivery for that. They expanded from Texas to Florida via Miami. So they're working with the Beacon Council and with all the players in Miami to figure out how do we set up and take advantage of this ecosystem that's growing there. So that was an awesome way to bring one of our, you know, people into the mix in South Florida, which is a growing ecosystem. But in terms of like my favorite parts of the conference, I'd have to echo a lot of the sentiment that's in here. But again, SoftBank, right? We're talking about the largest venture tech investor in the world. Like many other VCs, making enough money where they could stick with the plan that they have and be fine. But they also said, well, we have a vision fund that's big, and we haven't been investing in people of color. Well, how do we invest in people of color? And I said, well, let's put aside $100 million to figure out how to put our tentacles in the community and attract the best entrepreneurs to take our funding. And we're going to do a $100 million bet on this. And when this succeeds, not if, but when, then we're going to do a multi-billion-dollar strategy. That was revolutionary. And that is something that most other funds weren't even thinking of because it didn't occur to them. But when you peeled back the onion a little bit at SoftBank, you get to see that these guys are a band of outsiders, and they think really big, and they really care about their impact on not only on technology, but on the world and on people. So I was pleasantly surprised. The other part of the conference that I like was the growth hacking panel by Colin Dennis at AppDeco and Anthony Hernandez, who's of Google, but now with Amazon. They brought it and killed it. Like, if you want to figure out how to get early adopters and how to scale from there, how you should focus on creating KPIs with your growth hacking strategy, listening to Kalam's story is essential. I also liked Daricus Relaford. He was talking to Marlon Nichols. Marlon invested in Daricus's company, Store Cash. And there are two takeaways from that that conversation that I like, but you guys should listen for yourself when we upload the the replay on YouTube. Daricus is pointing out that it's not good to take money from other investors, and you can know who those investors are right off the bat. If they mistreat you slightly or make you do something you're uncomfortable with, you should probably walk away from that. And he noted, in his early days, he probably would have taken the money, and now he knows that's probably not a wise thing to do in the event he starts another company. And one of the takeaways from Marlon was, him saying the type of entrepreneurs you're looking for are people that are audacious, people that have a little bit of cray-cray in them, because that's what it takes to do something amazing and to build something big. And then finally, we had two major organizations come to talk about how early stage companies could get them as clients. So the Department of Homeland Security with Megan Mahale, and Morgan Stanley with Sean Manahan, who's head of tech BD at Morgan Stanley, were quite frank about how you could launch your products with them, and what programming and events they have in place to help entrepreneurs with really good technology feature them to the organization. So at Morgan Stanley, they have their annual innovation summit. So if you guys don't know how to get nominated for that, figure it out, send us a note. And they also have their tech BD group that just goes out and meets with really early stage companies at the idea stage, right? So if you're thinking that you may want them as a client, they help you think through how to make that possible. And with the Department of Homeland Security, Megan was speaking about their Silicon Valley innovation program. And that's a program that helps you integrate whatever commercialized product you have now onto their platform. And they're like 3 or 4 phases. And I believe they pay about $250,000 each for each phase, right? So yeah, that was the conference. Those are the highlights. Bubble, teaching people how to do no-code app building. So for all of our entrepreneurs out there who are Main Street entrepreneurs without tech enablement, Bubble told everyone how to get it done. I think Javon was talking about this with us earlier. Going forward, e-commerce is going to be the way. So if everyone sit down saying, oh, I have some exclusive restaurant or I have exclusive products, if you want it, you have to come to me. I think if you want to survive going forward, you're going to have to rethink that strategy to include tech.
Yeah, I'd like, I mean, like we talked about specifically, like e-com has moved forward a decade in the last year. So I think, from a—
You want to elaborate on that a little bit more, Javon?
Yeah, I mean, I think the, COVID-19, moved forward the idea of e-commerce or the necessity of e-commerce. There were a lot of companies that e-commerce strategy was something to get to. And unfortunately with COVID-19, it became the #1 priority. And so a lot of companies had to survive by developing a digital strategy that allowed them to reach their customers, at their homes. And so that that concept with a lot of businesses had to go into, that genie's not going back into the bottle. And so therefore, the idea of your e-commerce strategy, reaching your customers in new ways, that is the future. And now that my grandmother is ordering food through Postmates, that's the indicator that the laggards have now got into the system as well. And so yes, definitely, thinking about your direct-to-consumer strategy and thinking about how, from an e-commerce perspective, you're going to push your business forward, not only to survive, but to thrive in this new world that we're all, kind of being expedited through in this pandemic. Is essential.
And that's one of your strong suits. So we're going to look forward to having you talk on some panels next year. And the final thing I'll say, want to give shout out and thanks to PitchBook. They were also at the conference. We had our guy Keegan Phillip from PitchBook talk about what this market going forward will look like for funding. And we're going to have PitchBook be an essential part of kicking off our conference, just level setting everyone where funding, with information about where funding has been for companies from angel and seed all the way through to late stage VC, so we could all know where valuations are and what the investor appetite on risk has been like.